Hello Superset Maniacs and welcome back to my channel. The GOATs of the Modern Era is one of the most successful series on this channel, in which we have compared the greatest bodybuilders in the modern era of bodybuilding, Dorian Yates, Ronnie Coleman, Cutler and Heath, in different scenarios, like comparing their first and last Mr. Olympia winning physiques, their best physiques, and so on. If you guys want to see all the episodes I did in the past, go to my channel, scroll down and you will find the playlist nicely put together there. This is actually the way you can find any series on my channel. I have arranged this very nicely for you guys on my homepage, go take a look if you want. We also have there both seasons of the Building the Perfect Physique series, the Kingslayer series and many other. For those of you who are watching on mobile, same thing. Go to my channel's homepage and scroll down. Back to our video and the GOATs of the Modern Era series. Just like I was telling you, I've been comparing these four guys in different scenarios, but never in a video footage comparison. So this is what we're going to do today in this 7th episode of the series. We're gonna take a look at Dorian, Ronnie, Jay and Phil hitting the mandatories side by side. Of course, this was much more difficult to edit than the previous episodes. First, it's very hard to find good quality footage. The cameramen often tend to zoom in or out or record from different angles other than from the front. And last but not least, even though I have all the mandatories for all four of them recorded from the front of the stage, the angles are still different. Dorian's footage, for example, is taken from below the stage. Ronnie's footage is taken from a higher point and so on. You get the point, guys. This would never look as they were actually posing side by side on the same stage, but believe me, this is the closest you can get. In today's episode, we're gonna see 1993 Dorian, 2003 Ronnie, 2009 Jay, and 2011 Phil. These are arguably their best shapes of all time. Of course, there will always be different opinions, but these versions are for sure one of their best. And the other reason I've chosen this specific version is because of the available footage. I couldn't find 1995 Dorian, for example, and for Ronnie 98 or 99, I couldn't find all the mandatories. So this is what you get, guys. So without further ado, let's get to the poses. Of course that the video quality sucks even for the most recent versions. Finding HD video footage that would also fit all the criteria needed for such a comparison, the one I was mentioning earlier, is virtually impossible. But enough of that, let's see what we can get here. However, one more time before we get into this, remember that the camera angles are different and this would never look as if it was in reality. Front double biceps. You know the drill, Dorian doesn't stand a chance in this pose and Ronnie is invincible in the front double, right? Sometimes we all have our preconceptions and misconceptions when it comes to bodybuilding comparisons. Like Dorian is winning the front lat spread no matter what. He's the GOAT, bruh. Or Jay doesn't stand a chance in the back poses. I believe that sometimes you guys don't even watch the footage or look at the pictures. You already know who should be winning the pose, but I digress, like someone would say. Anyway, Dorian has the advantage of the camera that make his wheels bigger. Ronnie has a distension, Jay is blocky and Phil is narrow. Oh man, I'm doing this myself again, I suppose. Okay, as we cannot see the details because of the bad quality of the footage, I would say this pose is between Jay and Phil. They look the most balanced, but if this was HD, I think Ronnie's incredible details, separation, vascularity, and thin skin would have made the difference in his favor. As for Dorian, he looks incredible, however his biceps were unsymmetrical even before the bicep tear he suffered in 94. You can really tell, but still, camera advantage or not, he looks incredible here. I'm not gonna call a winner for every pose in this comparison, I'm gonna talk through all the poses and give you guys the final result at the end. Front lat spread, and yes, Dorian looks like he owns the pose. It's true that the camera being lower, his lats would be even more visible, but still, he has the best lats, at least seen from the front, we all know that. Ronnie fails the execution badly here, even though he may be the most gifted one for this pose. Jay for some reason does not look as good as expected, and Phil on the other hand looks much better than everyone expected. Call me crazy, but he's giving Dorian the best fight in this pose. Side chest pose, and Dorian is out of the equation in this pose. He doesn't have the necessary tools to go against these fellas in this pose, at least in my opinion. All three of the other guys have better chests, better delts and better guns. Once again, Heath looks the most balanced. He most certainly is, but he's getting dwarfed by Ronnie and Jay. So I don't know. Jay loses downstairs though, from the side I mean, so ultimately this is between Ronnie Coleman and Heath in my opinion. Back double biceps. Should I even dare to say that Jay is not last here? It's true, his lower back region is not competitive enough for these guys, but he looks massive in this pose. Nevertheless, he's probably last, as these three other backs are the best three backs of all time. Phil has that incredible muscle thickness in the lower lat region that is especially noticeable in the video footage. Dorian, of course, he looks the driest and the hardest, regardless of HD to 40p, you name it. However, I don't see any of them beating 03 Ronnie from the back. I mean, you can argue that Dorian is harder or Phil more balanced, and it's true, but Ronnie's size and conditioning combination is simply unbeatable, at least for me. Same thing in the rear lat spread. Of course, you could argue that I made Dorian too small or that Phil has more details, but in the end I think you all know it, they know it, everyone knows it, that Ronnie would simply dwarf even the best mass monsters from the back. I don't know, man, if Dorian came in his 6 weeks or 3 weeks out shape, how things would have looked. It's just speculation. Maybe Dorian could beat Ronnie if he didn't cut that much weight, but I'm judging what I see, and what I see is Ronnie being too much for these guys in this pose. However, in the side triceps, these guys are too much for Ronnie Coleman. This pose is definitely between Dorian, Jay and Phil, and I don't want to see anyone in the comment section claiming why one of them is the clear winner. There is no clear winner in this pose, guys. All three of them are good in their own way, all three are in good condition, all three of them have great tricep development, and all three of them have great executions here. So it all comes down to personal opinion. In the abs and thighs, Ronnie is out of the equation again, even though he has the biggest and maybe the best thighs. I don't know, Jay may have something to say about that. If we judge the overall flow, Dorian would get the upper hand, as he has the best taper and a good set of abs. But once again, the camera angle may help him here, giving the illusion of having bigger legs. Don't get me wrong, his legs were probably the best in that 93 lineup. They are deep cut and separated, but let's face it, he loses this department to all three of the other guys here in this comparison. Jay has great thighs and deeply cut abs, but he's blocky and has unbalanced abs. Heath is too narrow in this pose, otherwise he looks okay. We do not have a most muscular, as in Dorian and Ronnie's case, in 93 and 03 it wasn't a mandatory yet. I didn't find a good footage of Dorian hitting the pose in 93, and I didn't want to bring photos in this comparison for this last pose. So we're gonna draw the line here. Actually, we all know that the most muscular is between Ronnie and Phil, with Dorian in last place, speaking of preconceptions. Never mind, ignore this last line. Okay, so as I promised to you guys, I'm gonna give you the conclusion of this comparison. As they look here, Dorian Yates is in fourth. I'm sorry you Dorian Yates fans, he may be the hardest and the driest, but 93 Dorian is still too small for these guys. And I don't want to hear about those weight statistics. I'm just judging what I see, and the main reason why he is in fourth is the legs. In third place, and this is going to be controversial, I have Phil Heath. Yes, this may be his best version when compared to himself, but compared to Ronnie and Jay, he kinda gets dwarfed with his 2011 physique. If you don't believe me, go and watch Phil vs Jay in 2011 and you will see how Jay was still dwarfing Phil big time that year, and 2011 Jay was far from his best and biggest. I believe 2009 Jay Cutler would beat this version of Phil. Of course, Phil would win more mandatories probably, mathematically, but overall I believe Jay was too big and conditioned in 2009 to be defeated by Phil Heath. This is my opinion, guys. And of course, the winner of this comparison is Ronnie Coleman. He may have had a little stomach distension in between the poses, he may have been this or that, but let's face it, 03 Coleman is the pinnacle of what can be achieved by a bodybuilder. In my opinion, I don't believe this would ever be surpassed. I don't know what science has in store for the future, but like I said, 2003 Ronnie Coleman was, is and always will be the most dominant bodybuilding physique ever. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below your opinion about this comparison. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to watch the previous episodes of this series. Subscribe to the channel to stay updated, and as always, thank you guys and see you next time.